Thermal Soundwaves. It is Thermal Soundwaves, the natural alternative to fast food, a radio. We here, C.Truth. Joining me right now is someone that you may not know, but you need to get to know pretty quickly and pretty fast because he's definitely on the rise doing his thing. Got some great tunes and music, and we're going to find out what's going on with him. He's from the town, so you know he's definitely on that next stuff. He's going to have some things to say. And we're going to get right to the conversation. Joining me in the program right now is Soul from the O. What's going on, bro?
Yo, what's good, C.Truth? Thanks for having me. I appreciate you. Appreciate that that intro and the love, brother.
No question. Absolutely. So for those who don't know Soul from the O, tell us a little something about your journey and your beginnings.
Man, my journeys and beginnings, I like to say, I grew up in the Bay in the shadow of giants, man. I feel blessed and fortunate. There's so much great music and culture here. I imagine akin to folks in New York, how folks in New York feel. That's how we feel here, man. So I grew up here listening to all sorts of music from gospel, hip hop, of course, funk, jazz. All of that stuff was infused into my existence. But early on, it was really a lot of funk music, a lot of Motown and gospel. That's where I got my upbringing. And man, honestly, my mama gave me my first hip hop record was a Run DMC record. You know what I mean? And since then, I was probably like in third grade. It just grew from there. And I was writing rhymes. By the sixth grade, seventh grade, I was taking Too Short rhymes and rewriting those rhymes as my own rhymes about some girl I liked or what have you. You know what I mean? And honestly, bro, I feel like I just came up in a time where like hip hop was like the soundtrack of my life, and I'm not alone in that. But I remember being a kid waiting till 11:30 at night to hear rap. You know what I mean? And then Yo MTV Raps and all of that come up, and so I feel like I'm hip hop's baby in a weird way, but coming from the Bay, and there's a rich hip hop tradition here in the Bay, a lot of independent hustle, but a lot of like hip hop cultural embracement. Like, I feel like we was the early ones outside of New York, East Coast to embrace New York rappers, and I remember hearing Russell Simmons talk about that in one of his first books. He was like, I had to get these records spun. I went to San Francisco and Oakland, to the radio stations out here. And so definitely we got our own thing and I'm part of that, but definitely tapped into the source and the mecca of it all, so yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Definitely agree with you on all that. There's definitely like a kinship between Oaktown, New York and whatnot, East Coast, West and whatnot. You guys are extremely similar to us. Like it was like it's like we're from the same cloth, just on different coasts, but like the same people, though. You know what I mean? So, but definitely I can feel you on that. And I'm a Giants fan, but I always like the Raiders though, even though I'm a Giants.
Right. Sure.
Like I always like the Raiders because the Raiders, they were more than football. People don't understand that. I say that. Yeah. It's a different situation with the Raiders when they're not just a football team. You know what I mean? But that's a whole nother story. I know you already know what that's about.
Yeah, totally, man. Yeah, I mean, Oakland's got that. It's a blue collar town. It's always been a blue collar thing, and I think that's why the Raiders, the A's, the Warriors, they always had this diehard fan thing because it's like these was like almost like people who worked at the port getting off of work and going to the stadium. It was a different culture. Now with the money, all that's changed. Warriors, all of that. But that's a whole nother.
What part of Oakland did you grow up in?
East Oakland, but I had family all over Oakland, North Oakland, West Oakland. I'm like third generation Oakland. My peoples was originally from Mississippi, Texas. So we, after World War II, the Great Migration, my peoples was part of that,
Yeah. Did you know or have any affiliation with GQ, who was with Jambla, and he was played in North Carolina, the national championship team?
Bro, I got a song, true story. It's funny you bring up GQ. I got a verse from GQ with a song I got on my next project. Is me, him, and Casual from Hieroglyphics, and Picasso from Living Legends. And I cannot wait. GQ is a dope MC, and he's a really dope MC, and I feel like he's highly underrated. And I mean, a lot of people like that in the game, but he's affiliated with this producer that I get down with, highly talented, also affiliated with Jamla Soundtrack. I don't know if you heard of that cat.
Oh,
He's yeah, Soundtrack is a beast. So yeah, it's like 6 degrees of separation, Yeah.
gosh. Oh, that's gonna be crazy. I can't wait to hear that. Yeah, I was banging out mixtape when he first dropped that. Like way back.
Dope.
People don't understand. Like people don't know about that, man. It's like a
Yeah.
lot of people just know him from like the basketball, North Carolina, and all that. National championship.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's definitely on his P's and Q's when it comes to the MC tip and whatnot. And of course, Casual legend. You know what I mean? Like definitely one of my favorites all time. That the voice, the delivery, and
Yeah.
crazy. And so yeah, like you said, man, Oakland has legends like that. And artists like that, coming up from that area. What do you think it is about Oakland, from your point of view,
Yeah.
that you get such rich culture, talent, art? There's a great art scene out there too in Oakland.
Yeah. There's a lot of men. I think there's a history of people who were like fighters, like fighting for their rights, be it civil rights. And, it ain't even just the 60s, right? Or the 50s, 60s, 70s. Man, there was a sister named, I can't even think of her name, Mary something, a light-skinned sister from the 1800s. At the time in East Oakland, her house was on Fruitvale Ave. It's historic. And she was worth like 400,000. And she's considered the mother of the civil rights movement in California in the 1800s. So I just feel like there's a thing of resistance here a little bit. And
Oh
then you got the funk, and I mean, even World War II, man. I mean, poor Chicago Highway Mutiny. I mean, people were really here fighting, and so I think there's that undercurrent, and then there's that industrial thing, and then I do think the 60s and 70s was really something here, man. Like my elders, they all were like Black Panthers or affiliated in somehow, and then you get the Panthers, who had Sly and the Family Stone as a house band at the rallies. You know what I mean? And you had all these, Santana in San Francisco, and there's so many artists. So we had that as a backdrop, 60s, 70s. So going into the 80s, people like E40, and Vallejo, his elders had the record shops. They had the bands. You see what I'm saying? And so there
right.
was a whole generation that informed the next one, you know. Like anything, things just don't come out of the air. You know what I mean? It's something there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nothing for nothing is nothing. So there had to be something there, even if it's just like a small particle. You
yeah,
build on something that's there already for you to pull from and to grow on and to build on. Thermal
yeah,
Soundwaves, we hear C.Truth talking to soul from the old MC, coming out of the Bay, of course. Got a great project out called Queens and Pharaohs. How do you feel about some of the things that's going on now in Oakland? You know what I mean? Like all the sports teams has left. Um, you got like a lot of gentrification going on. Like the city's really changing now as far as like the politics and what's going on and who's running things. You
right.
got like corruption like right before our eyes going on out there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, this has been going on for a while, like gentrification. Um, it's weird because Oakland historically is one of the cities in the country that coined the term white flight. Soon as East Oakland, which was used to be predominantly white, soon as that shifted 10% African American, Latino, people left in droves. And so early 2000s, you had people starting to come back, mayors starting to be like, yo, we want to bring 10,000 new residents to downtown. And that just meant a lot of like at market, above market housing and rentals and stuff. And so it's been bad, man. Like a lot of people, we always had a homeless population here in the Bay. You knew like two people in your neighborhood. It was always on the corner. You talk to those people, man. Now it's like encampments. It looks like something out of like a crazy futuristic sci-fi movie. You
District
know,
9.
yeah, District 9 for real. Like, and I got, because of gentrification, a lot of my family got pushed out. They left to other states. So they came back. I'll never forget my cousin coming back, and we riding through the town, and we go downtown and we hit a street. I took it for granted because I've been seeing it so much, and she just lost her stuff. She was like, "Oh my God, what is this?" I was like, "Girl, this is the new normal." And what's crazy is they know 20% of the homeless people in Oakland, for example, they got jobs. These people have jobs, 20% of them. And they talking about they don't want their employer to know that they're homeless because they might lose their job because the employer might want to fire them, because of it. And so it's
Gotcha.
really messed up, man. It's like right now, what's crazy is the Bay is crazy because there's so much money here in the Bay Area. Like the
Yeah.
California economy is crazy. The Bay Area economy is crazy. Joe Biden and Donald Trump flew into the Bay to raise money from billionaires who live here. They went to their house. And so that lets you know that like there's a lot of money here, but why is there so much inequality, growing inequality?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's messed up, man, for sure.
Definitely. It's Thermal Soundwaves, the natural alternative to fast food radio. We hear C.Truth talking to soul from the O. Your new project, of course, which we've been rocking some joints from off of there. Queens and Pharaohs. Your mother and your father's on the cover, is that right?
Yeah, and I don't know if y'all can see this, but I got a shirt on here. I mean, this shirt. I do have a shirt. This is my cover,
Oh, that's a
and these
cover.
are my parents when they was high school sweethearts here in Oakland,
Wow.
and
Wow.
always had this picture. And they took it. I don't know, Sears, J.C. Penney's, old school thing. And they had two pictures. One, they was all lovey-dovey smiling, and then the one I'm using on the cover, they're a little serious. And that picture always kind of haunted me in a weird way because it was like, man, y'all so young, yet you have this seriousness. Do you really know what life, you know, had in store for you? And
Yeah. Yeah.
so yeah, I always held on to that, and that ended up being an inspiration for this record. Yeah.
Gotcha. So take us inside Queens and Pharaohs and some of the subject matter that you talk about and that you deal with.
Yeah, for sure. So subject matter. So it was primarily, I got this photo of my parents, and what I really wanted to do is just to like make it a tribute to them, but obviously not make the record necessarily about mom grew up here and dad did this. It wasn't like autobiographical. But what it was just more like, hey, you know what? My pops was always talking about the importance of family. And so that went into family tree, and or, my mother's always like, keep going, don't stop, don't give up, very inspirational. So, songs like On My Way or Own It All, a lot of my general positivity comes from my mother. My father's more of a practical skeptic, and I think that's a good balance. I'm not knocking it,
Yeah.
right? But
Yeah.
I really drew from that. And so, that went into that record. And then also just like I wanted to capture my parents' voices. I worked on this record over 4 years. And so, I was like, hey, something told me, let me capture my parents' voices, their input on different things, and then I can put them as interludes. And so that was fresh. And so, long story short, man, I make this record, and in the meantime, while I'm making this record, like there's just things that happen that just feel very ominous. Like, getting Duran Bernard on this record was like just this fell out of the sky, Like
Yeah.
it fell out of the sky. Like true story. I had a friend, my guy, Kasim Green, shout out to Kasim Green. He does a lot of my artwork, very talented human being. And he was like, you got to get with Duran Bernard. And Duran had a post on Instagram. It's like, yo, it's COVID. I'm not touring. Who want to mess with me? Email me. So I email him. Some told me he ain't gonna mess with this song. And 2 weeks later, he was like, nah, I can't mess with this song. But the brother was like, yo, but this ain't a forever no. Keep me in mind. So 6 months later, I'm working on Own It All. And I'm like, I wonder if Duran would mess with this. True story, brother. I sent him this email on a Saturday night. He hits me back like 30 minutes later, and we start emailing each other back that same night. And he's just like, I'm messing with this. Here goes my manager. Let's work it. So long story short, a lot of magic has been building up for this record. And my mom, she had moved to Arizona, and I flew her out here. And this was 2021, and I flew her out here. We had a great time. She hadn't been in the Bay in a minute, and she hears a record. She's like, "Son, this is really good music. You're gonna be as good as Jay-Z." I was like, "Oh." I was like, "You sound like a mom. You telling me I'm gonna be as big as Jay-Z?" She was like,
Yeah.
"Nah, I ain't saying that because you're my son." I'm like, "You got some good music." So I'm like, "Fresh, thank you, all love." So she leaves 2 days later, and maybe 13 days, and 2 weeks later she passes.
Mm.
So when she passes, of course that's devastating. Then I'm like, oh, I gotta write a song for her. I made this album for my parents in dedication to my parents. My parent dies, so I do For When We Meet Again. And man, and I'm telling you, brother, I've had people on the internet, people I don't know, grown men, I presume they grown men by their profile pictures, who reach out to me like, man, I listen to that song, that shit make me cry. Excuse me. That song makes me cry. You know what I mean? And so for me, man, it's like, I don't want my mama to die to make great music. I don't want any of my people to die to make great music. But at
Yeah.
the end of the day, I feel so blessed and fortunate that I listened to that premonition, that idea. And it also affirmed to me that, yeah, you listened to that idea and you should have listened to that idea. It was the right idea. And I don't know, I feel like I'm in service of something bigger than me. You know what I mean? Because I couldn't have designed all of these twists and turns. And all those twists and turns made it what it was. And so, yeah, that's Queens and Pharaohs in a nutshell.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah, it's one of those pieces that's like art. You could tell um from concept to the songs, and like you were really into it. It wasn't just a song. Like,
Right
and
on.
that's not to say that there's not good albums like that where you just put out a song, you're just doing what you're doing. But there's a difference between that and a song or albums that have concept, and you can really feel the artist within every song where they're really putting something into it, and they're really, really connecting with what they're talking about, the music and all that. Like, that's true artistry right there. And this is one of them joints. You know what I mean?
Right
So
on. Right on. Thank you. Thank you.
definitely. It's Thermal Soundwaves. We're here talking to soul from the old artist, MC extraordinaire. Are you trained in instruments? Because I saw that you do some things on stage sometimes with the MP and some live
Yeah.
instruments and stuff like that. So
I mess with the instruments, but really it's the folks I collaborate with who will get down with me. My folks Woodstock from this group called Crown City Rockers. He does all that finger drumming, all that magical stuff on the MP. So we was performing a lot back in the day, and every now and then we'll definitely get down for sure. And we did a joint together. I don't know if you saw this. It's a Gil Scott Heron tribute where basically he chops up We Almost Lost Detroit, and he basically redoes different interpretations over the hip hop years to that, and I'm spitting over that. So we've done that a few times and gotten a lot of love when we do that. But yeah.
nice, nice. Now, is there anything that you want to do? It doesn't have to be just music, just anything at all that you
Yeah.
want to get into or that you would like to do that you haven't touched upon yet.
I think I would love to work with youth, community, maybe to put on like events, music events. And this year I've gotten a taste of that a little bit. I put on some artist showcases here in Oakland, 3 to be exact this year, and that was great. Because I was like, man, right, I'm getting these people together, and like, you got a 20-minute set, let's get on, and that felt really good. And I feel like I'm coming of age now, more so that it's like, all right, I got to set up so I can make sure I'm helping other people, fulfill their dreams. So I'd like to do that. I'd like to work in the community somehow with some housing. I got some crazy ideas about, I don't know, man. I want to make $1 billion so I can go buy an entire city block, you know what I mean, and turn every house into a cooperative and have all my renters take a percentage of a tax write-off, so then they can build, some of that ownership,
Much,
and
don't
I
say too
got,
much. You
I'm
you
sorry.
don't want people. No, I said don't say too much because you don't want people to try and like take your ideas and stuff. So, we got these.
Yeah, yeah, no.
But
I,
what you're saying is very, very attainable, achievable, and it doesn't have to be $1 billion to do it either.
that's
You can
true.
do a lot less. There's
That's true.
there's ways to flip that. Like I don't have the means, but I know there are ways to do that for less than $1 billion to do exactly what it is that you're trying to do. So
Yeah.
I can see that happening, and I definitely want to see that happen too, because that'd be a great thing. That'd be a beautiful thing to happen
Yeah,
for you,
man.
and for just everybody, man, the whole city as well, man.
Yeah, for sure, man. And the one thing I want to say, I heard this brother. It's a brother down in Mississippi. My apologies for not knowing his name. Jackson, Mississippi, to be specific. He's a community organizer, and I heard him say this, and I just want to share with you, and maybe you can echo it to your listeners and your community. Is he said, in all the movies, we always talk about doomsday. We always doomsday prep, and we always think like an individual, right? But he was like, if we had all this food in our house, we can't defend our house from 10,000 people coming for that food, right? And he was like, the only way we're going to survive any disaster is by building community. Our gardens, bartering. Hey, I got mushrooms, you got squash, fresh. Let's barter. You know what I mean? Because when the crisis hit, we gonna need our neighbors. You know what I mean? And we gonna
Absolutely.
need our community to be strong. And it ain't gonna be good enough that sold from the old maid a meal and got a bag and his neighbors is hungry. You know
Right.
what I mean? It
Right.
don't make no sense. I much rather have a little bit of a bag and all my people around me can eat, so we can survive the
Right.
storm. And
Exactly.
so that's just something I just really want to echo out there. If it fits in the interview, use it. If it don't, feel
Oh
free to
no,
leave
all
it
this
up.
is going in here. We don't edit stuff out, man. On this,
Okay, fresh.
like we do it all. We're the natural alternative fast food radio. You
Oh, that's right.
understand? This is
Right.
how we do it over here. Ain't
Yeah.
no commercial, ain't no, we,
Yeah.
how we talk. We let it roll. How we let it roll over here, man.
Yeah.
I see truth. That's what it is. It's more than just a name. So for
Yeah.
those that know, they understand that as well. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
definitely, man, it's about that. And let everybody know. And we had a guest on too who Hawk Newsom is his name. He does a lot of activism out in New York, and they have some headquarters out in Jackson, Mississippi at that. And he was
Okay.
telling me a little bit about the history of Jackson, Mississippi, and all of that, and why it's one of the poorest
Yeah.
cities in America,
Yeah.
and the science behind that. So there's a lot of things in Jackson
Yeah.
that people don't know about, and the reason why it's being deprived of what it's being deprived of.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's a whole nother story. That's a whole other story. So
Hey,
let everybody. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
just one thing I have to say this about Jackson because my father's on this cover, right? My father's side of the family is from Jackson, Mississippi. True story. My grandfather fought in World War II, came to Oakland after all of that. But our family had land in Jackson, and my dad, as a kid, would always be like, "We need to go back and get our land." And my grandfather was like, "No, those white folks will kill us if we go back and take our land." And so there's been a lot of dispossession of black farmers and sharecroppers, and that might have been what you're getting at. But I just have a personal feel for that because I know my Hopkins side of family is from Jackson, and so yeah. Anyways, yeah, man,
Yeah,
crazy.
no doubt. So let everybody know where they could get the project, where they could hear Queens and Pharaohs and all that, all your
Yeah.
social.
Yeah, dope. Yeah, you can find me on Bandcamp. If you just Google Soul from the O. All my handles are, at Soul 11525. So you can find me everywhere. And I'm on all streaming platforms, Spotify, YouTube Music, Apple Music. I'm there. And tap in with me. I'm on IG all day and got so much more music coming in 2025, man. I'm so excited. So, yeah.
Absolutely, no question, no question. If y'all been watching this, I know y'all listening to this, but if you've been watching this visually, you can see scrolling underneath, man. All the information is right there for y'all to just see the Instagram, the website, the Facebook, and all that kind of good stuff, man. Of course, you can get the Bandcamp from any of those things. So definitely check out Queens and Pharaohs. Soul from the O. It's been a pleasure having you on the program. Definitely appreciate it, and we definitely gonna build on some things because it's some information I see you have and some information that, we need to like share back and forth to, move forward on some things, man. Continue success. Keep doing what you're doing. Looking forward to the next pieces coming through, especially with GQ. I'm gonna need a couple links from you as well for GQ, an artist dude, to have them on the program as well, because that's what we do, man. Like people who do incredible things, we want them on here. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter what you sold or didn't sell, or where you at. No. You do good things and good work. We want you here on the program. That's how we roll. You know what I'm saying?
Right on. I appreciate that, brother. Real talk. I really do. Thank you.
Definitely. No question. All right, man. We're gonna kick with you a little more down the road. Stay safe. Enjoy the rest of your day, bro.
Thank you. You too, brother.
It's Thermal Soundwaves, a natural alternative to fast food radio. We here, C.Truth. Yes, indeed. Y'all stay tuned. And until we do this again, until next time, I say peace. Thermal Soundwave.